11, Congresswoman Slotkin and Congressman Molinar. We owe them a debt of gratitude for all their great work, and especially with the announcement that's being made today. Let's welcome them. I also want to acknowledge we have several of our board members that are present today and thank them for all of the support that they've given us at the Chaldean Chamber of Commerce and the Chaldean Community Foundation. This issue relating to immigration and deportation often gone to one of our board members who's given me some phenomenal advice and counsel on this issue. It was critical in helping us come up with some ideas on how to try to help those that are being deported or detained. And I also want to acknowledge Councilor Iman Jajoni Dean. Thank you, Iman. Many of you already know the story. So for 2 years now, we've had many families that have been very anxious, concerned. They've had members of their family that have been detained. Unfortunately, some have already been deported. And we've been asking just for some additional time, some due process. And I want to really thank the ACLU, many of the volunteer attorneys and others that have helped many of these families. But more recently, we were concerned that we weren't going to have a solution after the 6th Court of Appeals overturned the ruling of the lower court. And for that reason, we are hopeful that our congressional members can help us with a solution. And I think we finally have a path forward to figuring out how we could get to a point where members of the Iraqi community, the Chaldean community, can have an opportunity for due process and not be worried about being picked up by Homeland Security. Yes, many of them have committed crimes over the last 2 or 3 decades. They've served their time, but we also want them to have the opportunity not to be sent back to a country where they are culturally, linguistically illiterate and not without any family members. So with us today is the person's name who's the lead plaintiff for this case with the ACLU, Mr. Sam Hamama. I just want to acknowledge that Sam is here and he will be making remarks in a little bit. But I first want to start with Congressman Andy Levin, who has been leading this effort with other Michigan members and is going to announce today the bill that will be introduced on Tuesday of this upcoming week. Please welcome Congressman Andy Levin.
Well, thank you so much, Martin, and I just can't emphasize enough how all the work that we're doing in Congress would not be happening without the leadership of the Chaldean Foundation, the Chaldean Chamber. The partnership is incredible, and Martin, you're doing an incredible job for the community. So Representative Molinar and I, along with Representative Slotkin and other colleagues who are on their way or want to be here tonight, and others from around the country, which is really important to point out, have engaged the executive branch in simply asking for fairness and humanity for the Iraqi people who are at threat of deportation. Michigan's 9th District is the home to more Iraqi nationals than any other congressional district in our country, of all 435. The next couple are in California, but then other Michigan districts make up a lot, and Michigan has more folks impacted by this situation than any other state. And the fate of this community has been a major concern of mine from my first day in office. And I'm really grateful to all the other lawmakers who've made this a priority in the Congress. We went and looked at the census information, and we have gotten involved legislators of the vast majority of the 20 congressional districts that have the most Iraqis in their communities. There are an estimated 1,000 Iraqi nationals, including numerous Chaldeans, who are at immediate risk of deportation. And most have no home in Iraq, they don't speak the language, and they would be subject to religious persecution and extreme danger if they were sent back. And so Representative Molinar and I, along with Representative Slotkin and other colleagues from around the country, are working a 2-part strategy here. And it's to work with the executive branch in a completely bipartisan way to seek efforts and relief on that front, and also to introduce legislation that can protect Iraqis from deportation without a chance for the kind of due process that Martin was talking about. We sent a letter to the Department of Homeland Security and the Immigration and Customs Enforcement asking to let each person facing deportation have their cases heard individually in immigration court. This is crucial because of the recent Sixth Circuit decision, which allows for wholesale detention and deportation of these folks. And we also engaged the Vice President in our request for his intervention. And I hope Representative Molnar may be modest when he gets up here, but I'm going to tell you just the truth. He has been leading our efforts to reach out to the administration, doing a tremendous job to make sure that they are hearing our voices. So today, to complement this advocacy, we're announcing the second part of this strategy, a legislative solution. We're introducing a bill on Tuesday that would defer removal of Iraqi nationals who received orders of deportation for a 2-year period. This would give people at risk of immediate deportation time to seek reopening of their immigration proceedings. All we're asking is for due process for each person affected. The bill also extends employment authorization and documentation for the 20-month deferral period for those who apply to the Secretary of Homeland Security, and it prohibits detention of anyone granted deferral for this 2-year period. So I'm really grateful for the partnership of everyone involved. Really what we've done is tried to make this a national discussion among all the members of Congress who have folks in their district. We've learned a lot in the process. We've learned where Kurdish folks are clustered in Tennessee. We've learned about folks in Arizona and California and around this country. And we are not going to stop working together, Republicans and Democrats, until we have protection and basic due process for these folks. And so now I want to ask Congressman Molinar to say a few words, and then Representative Slotkin, and then we'll turn it back over to Martin.
Well, thank you very much, Andy Levin, and I want to just give a shout out to Andy and his whole staff and team who have worked so well with us, with our colleagues in the Michigan delegation, in crafting this legislation and really bringing it to the forefront. So thank you. As he mentioned, it's really a bipartisan effort, and it's something that, you know, none of us would really understand this had it not been for Martin. And Martin has made countless trips to Washington, D.C., and met with leaders, continues to educate people in the executive branch and Congress, and is truly a tremendous advocate. And so I'm very grateful for your friendship, Martin, and also the way you've educated me and helped me understand to be a more effective legislator. To me, it's very important, and I know families are very affected, and we appreciate you being here and look forward to your comments. But this is a situation where what we're asking for has been mentioned, is really for people to have the opportunity for their day in court to make a case, and really to recognize, for the court to recognize the danger that we could be putting people in by sending them back to Iraq. And I think all of us value religious liberty in this country. In many countries, that isn't the case, and people are persecuted for their faith. People who are of a religious minority are persecuted and have threats of violence. And something that all of us, I think, share is the desire for our country and other countries to really be respectful of one another's human rights, their religious liberties, and it's something all of us created in the image of God can treasure and advocate for. And so that's really what unites all of us, I think, in this effort. My heart goes out to the families who are affected. You know, tonight's a celebration of really so many wonderful things happening in the Chaldean community and the contributions the Chaldean community is making to our state of Michigan and our country and this community. And I have been looking forward to this all year, just being part of the dinner. But I'm thankful for the friendships, and I'm thankful for your leadership, and Martin, and I'm going to work with our colleagues, work with the administration, and we're going to get this done. So whether it's all the way through the Congress or whether it's the executive branch, you know, you have my commitment that we're going to work together to get this done. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Great remarks. Really appreciate it. It's an honor to work with you as well. So I also want to invite one of our newest members of Congress who I've really gotten to know well. Every time I'm in Washington, D.C., and I meet with people who have an interest in Iraq, they're always asking me, do you know Congresswoman Slotkin? I'm like, who is this lady? And so I've got to know really quickly that she has a lot of influence in Iraq and has had a lot of influence on the country for quite some time from her previous job, and even more so now. I've become a quick advocate for our community, which we're very thankful for, and someone who we should continue to support. So, like the others, we're really grateful that you are with us today. Please welcome Congresswoman Lisa Slotkin.
Okay, I will be brief because everyone has said lots of really important things. I do want to thank Congressman Levin and Molinar for their leadership. Oh, and great. We have Congresswoman Stevens, who's also joined us, which is fantastic. Yeah, let's welcome Congresswoman Stevens. What I think is really interesting is that we have all the pieces in place now, I think, to actually make real progress in Washington on this issue. We have bipartisan leadership from Congressman Levin and Molinar. We have a delegation that is working well together, that is engaging with the executive branch to make sure that they are hearing our concerns about our community members. And I think that's the important thing that we all feel, is that it's not congressmen and women helping out the Chaldeans, the Iraqi Christians. It's congressmen and women helping out our families, our community, the people who are a part of the fabric of our state. I feel extremely connected to the community because of my time in Iraq. I'm a former CIA officer and Pentagon official. I did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military, almost 2 years of my life, in Baghdad, in southern Iraq, in Ramadi, in Kurdistan, in the Nineveh Plains. So I have spent a lot of time over there. There is a travel warning for Americans in the country of Iraq, which means the United States of America knows that it is unsafe. There are people right now still leaving and departing Iraq, particularly Iraqi Christians, which we would love to not see, but we know that safety is the most important thing. And I want to say, as someone who spent a lot of time working with the Iraqi government in particular, that the forced repatriation of citizens is against Iraqi law. It contravenes Iraqi law. So it is incumbent on us to all work together as elected officials and as community members to apply the appropriate amount of pressure in order to see this through. I feel extremely strong about our ability to do that. We have all the right pieces in place. Thank you to Martin Manna and the rest of the community here, and we have a group of fighters who will not give up on this community. So thank you.
Okay, the woman who needs no introduction. She purposely came late so she could make that grand intro. I've had the pleasure, but before I bring up Congresswoman Stevens, I just want to acknowledge there's not many things in Washington these days that are bipartisan. So this is really a Herculean effort that you guys are undertaking, and which we're very thankful for. And so Congresswoman Stevens, I think, has the 2nd or 3rd largest Chaldean district, and she's starting to enjoy our food, our company. She's not getting our jokes yet, but we'll get there. But immediately has been on board on our issues. So a great friend, a great spirit to her, and we're really thankful that you also have joined us. Please welcome Congresswoman Stevens.
Thank you.
wouldn't have missed this opportunity to join, not only for this evening and with my friend Martin Manna and all of you, but obviously with my colleagues on this very important topic. You all should see Mr. Martin Manna in Washington, D.C. when he comes out. He's like our 15th member of Congress. He bops around, he knows where he's going, he knows the numbers to call, and he knows how to help us get things done. And frankly, that's what Martin Manna has done on this issue, is he has brought people together. He has helped us to tell a story that is frankly one to celebrate out of southeastern Michigan. Our Chaldean community, we're here at this event this evening to in part recognize your business leadership, your contributions to our economy. And the reason why I was a few minutes late is because I was driving here from Pittsburgh. I was a part of a congressional field hearing on nuclear energy. And I was there with my colleagues, and I said, okay, I can't go to the last part of the tour because I got to get back. We're having our ChaldeanChamber Foundation dinner tonight, and we're also going to be talking about a really important issue that I want to bend your ear on around these deportations and a way in which we've come together in a bipartisan way. And Martin's right, I'm still new to Congress. We're just past the first 100 days. But one of the things that I have noticed about Washington and your Congress is that we do come together on occasion, and it's not always for the frontline things, but it's ways in which we recognize that the government is failing us, that actions that are taking place are hurting segments of our economy and our community, and we can band together to stand up and say, hey, this isn't working, and we're going to push back. And so that's what this bipartisan effort, this letter, this legislation that we're pushing is meant to improve and meant to capture what we love so much about southeastern Michigan. So thank you for giving us a little part of the evening to showcase the leadership of my dear colleague, Andy Levin, who frankly is another hero and real leader for us. We have him on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He's someone who I call on occasion, and obviously to John Molinar as well, who has stepped up with us and provided his leadership. We've got people all over the country who are signing on to this, and in part, and this is in partnership with all of you, what I'm looking to do in Washington is showcase what is happening in southeastern Michigan. We are living through an innovation renaissance here. We are living through a renaissance in business creation and business leadership. 10 years out of the Great Recession, we're the place that everyone is knocking on to come do business. And in part, that is because of our tremendous Chaldean community, your business leadership, and the way in which we all work together. So thank you, and let's enjoy this evening. Thank you.
I hope I could get the pension from Congress. That was great. I think we found our keynote speaker for next year's dinner. Okay, so the sound's going because the battery's dying, so we don't have much time. A big party. We're going to have a quick presentation during the gala. I want to bring up Mr. Sam Hamama. If you don't know the family, some of the most giving people in this area. Forget the fact that he's dealing with this issue, but there couldn't be a better lead plaintiff because of how good of an American he's been for all the work that he's done for this community, the people that he's hired, that he's given back. So please welcome Sam Hamama.
Thank you, Member of Congress. Thank you for being here, all of you. I just want to say one thing. As Congress people, whether you're Democrat or Republican, you really have to look at this issue a little bit more. You have to understand the families that are being torn apart with this whole thing. What you're presenting, what you're putting in front of us is a victory, but it's also like I want to say, a miracle, because you have people that have kids that are going to grow up without fathers. Most of us are men that are involved in this thing, a couple of women maybe. But can you imagine a house broken up without a husband, without a father? What are we going to have? What are our kids going to do without a father? What they're going to be? If you give us the opportunity, most of us will have good kids. We're good people. We're Christians. We're people of faith. We love our community. We love people, any people. We work anywhere, we succeed anywhere, whatever we do. You people have given us a chance for the next 2 years, but I pray to God that you guys are going to extend it, make it happen a little bit further, because a family for 2 years is not enough. A family for life is enough. Please, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for supporting us. We love you. We appreciate you. Just remember one thing. Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter. Think about the humanitarian part. Thank you.
How would you not want to save him, huh? Right? We're all American. So that concludes the press conference. If you have any questions for the members, let us know. I want to thank all of you again. There's quite an event now that we hope you could come and enjoy. Thank you all for coming. Have a great night.
Good evening and welcome to the 16th Annual Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce Awards Dinner. Tonight, we are honoring those who have supported the Chaldean community through their civic duty, volunteer work, and economic development. We have an exciting night planned, and so let's get started. I'm Renee Lassiacho, and here with me, Jason Abro and Zaid Elia of US ICE, and we are your co-hosts tonight. I had the distinct honor last year to be the recipient of the Businessperson of the Year award, and tonight I look forward to another exciting evening at this wonderful event. Thank you. Jason?
Good evening. This is the 16th year in a row the Chamber has held this award dinner, and tonight's event is the most successful ever, with a sellout weeks in advance. As a shameless plug, my gorgeous wife Zina is a co-chair of the Foundation Gala being held November 14th. Get your tables now because the event is sure to sell out before the date. Thank you again for your attending and for your support.
You know, they put the worst two people here to say speeches. Thank you, Martin. You know what? I want to thank everybody for coming over here, and it's a great event, and to see everybody over here, and, you know, lovable the nuns and everybody, and Bishop over here, it's just great. And I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Jason. Let me do that. It is an honor to be here tonight. I have the honor of introducing our friend. Tonight's embassy, known as the Honorary Chaldean. Please welcome Mojo from the Mojo in the Morning show on channel 955. Mojo, come on in.
First time we ever met.
That's not a Zuffa, they need him on a chair.
These guys, great job, guys. Come on up here, guys. Come on up, guys. Come with me. All right. Cut it. We got to start. Nice job, guys. Nice job, guys. Shout yourselves out. What are your names?
Yusuf and Walid.
There's no Yusuf and Walid. Bull crap. There's no way. Are those made up names?
No, it's real name.
All right.
Real name.
I promise you're not going to get deported.
Hey, I got my papers and everything.
All right, you got to pay. All right, good. Nice job, guys. Give it up one more time for these guys. Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do that. Hello, sisters. How are you, fathers? Everybody, God bless you. I've always wanted to do that, but since no Chaldean woman would ever marry me, and probably won't marry Joey either, I figured somebody from our show has to do that. So I'm so happy, by the way, that I get a chance to be here with all of you again. It is so nice to get a chance to get together with, I think, one of the greatest communities that I have ever been around. Give it up for our great Chaldean community. I've been asked so many times, especially by our dear sisters over here, to not make any jokes that will offend anyone. And I will not, I promise you, except for the top 5 reasons why Chaldeans should not be deported. Can I have thank you for the drum roll. I was going to ask for it, but thank you for it. Can I have a drum roll? Coming in at number 5. Because who would pay to fix the damn roads? Chaldeans own 90% of the gas stations. Number 4. A great amount of marijuana patients would be left without their caregivers and edibles. Number 3, there would be no home buyers who would put a kitchen in their garage. Number 2, all the grape leaves along Orchard Lake Road would be overgrown. And the number 1 reason why Chaldeans should not be deported, who else would contribute to both political parties and not know the difference? There was a great announcement that was made, right? A press conference just a little bit ago. Look at this guy. Did you see this good-looking guy in front? Can you guys give, Martin, will you stand up for a second? Give it up for Martin Manna, everybody. What an awesome thing that you do for this community, Martin. I call this guy every time I get arrested. I say, call up Congressman Levin and tell him that I need a little help. You know, see what you can do. Your haircut looks better today than it did 2 days ago. Who did he go to that chopped off all that hair? It's unbelievable. He looks great, though. You look phenomenal today. I want to thank you guys so much for coming for such an amazing night. We have an award show tonight that's going to be great. I promise you we're going to keep it on time because we've got the Afterglow, which I understand. Did Renee sponsor the Afterglow? Did you get her the tent? I got a tent coming, by the way. We got bouncy houses. We got all kinds of fun stuff, right? We have a bunch of different people here tonight that are you know, amazing. One of the most touching stories, one of the saddest stories, turned inspirational. One of the most amazing, as far as local politicians, who actually cares about the Chaldean community. And we also have an amazing business person of the year who, I'll tell you what, I think this guy poops gold. Like, I'll tell you, he does amazing. Sisters, sister, thank you for laughing at that. Poop jokes work with nuns all the time. They're great. I went to 12 years of Catholic school, so I promise you guys, I have done penance. 12 years of that. Before we get into any of this, I want to thank some of the sponsors that are here. I would ask you guys to please do us a favor and thank these sponsors. So I'm going to give you a couple quick sponsors here. Who do we have? Comerica Bank. Give it up for Comerica Bank. Ascension. Let's say hello to our friends at Ascension. They're our presenting sponsor. Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Why did they only get half of it? I mean, hey, listen, it's not their fault. It's Obamacare. That's the problem. Give it up for Blue Cross Blue Shield again, please. Country Fresh. Country Fresh. DTE Energy. Ford Motor Company. And U.S. Ice. We also have to say thank you to our silver sponsors, Bank of America, Comcast Business, Gordon Food Services, Greektown Casino Hotel, Henry Ford Health Systems, the Carmanis Cancer Institute, Meyer, Motor City Casino and Hotel. We had a couple people lose at the blackjack table, I can tell, but hold on, there was a kind of smattering of applause. Spartan Nash, the Elia Group, Trepco, and Varnum Law. And we have more. How many sponsors do you have? For God's sakes, you have more sponsors than I run commercials during my 7 o'clock hour. I would like, if I could, can I have everybody that helped put this event on tonight stand up, all the great board members and all the great people that are part of this Chamber of Commerce and part of the dinners. Give it up for them. Round of applause. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the fact that we're serving both steak and chicken tonight. So thank you. Huge thank you to all of our sponsors. Go to page 36 and you can check those sponsors out. We also have a number of dignitaries that are here today. If you are a dignitary, a politician, I saw Sheriff Bouchard here. I saw our chief of police here. I saw our lieutenant governor here. Will you guys stand up for a second and just wave to everybody? Stand up for a second, our great politicians. Excellent. Okay. We're going to actually introduce a lot of them individually. We have with us tonight some really good people, and I want to introduce some of the good people that are here. But before we do, I'm going to bring Martin Manna up here right now to say thank you to everybody else. Give it up for Martin Manna. His hair looks fantastic.
Okay. Thank you, Mojo. I mean, who makes fun of the host? That's just wrong. I would never say that he goes to Turkey and get hair plugs. I mean, seriously, what this guy doing? Okay, I want to just also acknowledge some of our special guests that are here today. Let me again thank our wonderful sponsors, but we have many dignitaries that have made an effort to be here tonight, and we really appreciate that. Let us start with His Excellency, our Bishop from the Chaldean Catholic Diocese, Mr. Bishop Ibrahim. Welcome him tonight. We also have with him several of the wonderful priests and nuns from our diocese, so we should give them also a round of applause and thank them for coming. And I also want to thank and acknowledge the great work that Shenandoah Country Club does here today. Let's thank them and their president, Mr. Rod Kathawa. I told Rod if I mention him, they got to knock $10,000 off the bill, so thank you, Rod. We have some representatives from Washington, D.C., including the Kurdistan Regional Government Representative, Ms. Bayan Sami Abdulrahman is here today, and Desko Sherwani, her associate, also is here. Welcome. We have some representatives from the U.S. State Department, the Director of the Iraq Office, Mr. Robert Waller, and also Mr. David Staples. Welcome. several members of Congress. You're going to be hearing from a couple of them here shortly, but I want to recognize Congresswoman Stevens, Congresswoman Slotkin, Congressman Andy Levin, Congressman John Molinar, and am I missing anybody? All right, that's good. I got Congress covered. We have members of the Michigan State Senate here, led by Senator Mike Shirkey. Thank you, Senate Majority Leader Shirkey, for coming. And we also have many members of the State House. So I want, if we can all the members of the State Senate and the State House please stand and be recognized? I really appreciate it. There's several members here. Thank you. Thank you for attending. Okay, we have a lot of support from the local law enforcement. Shh, I'll be quick. Let's welcome the police chief from West Bloomfield, Chief Mike Patton, and thank him for his service. He's been keeping us safe for 15 years. Also, Chief Dale Drojakowski from Sterling Heights. We have Homeland Security Investigations Assistant Director, Mr. Steve Francis, who recently got a promotion, one of our own, the special agent in charge of the Detroit Drug Enforcement Agency, Mr. Tim Plankin. Tim was recently promoted to Assistant Administrator in charge of operational support for the DEA. He's on his way to Washington, maybe his last dinner. Tim, we love you. All right. Tim, you could drink extra tonight. This is your last part in Detroit. Also with him is Special Agent Terry McCoskey. Terry's going to be running for office in Macomb County. Make sure you see him, Terry. Okay, another shameless plug there. Couple more. Mr. Jeffrey Downey from the FBI and the U.S. Attorney, Mr. Matthew Schneider, are both here as well. Thank you very much. This is about it. We have many more prosecutors, commissioners, mayors, supervisors, council members, trustees, several judges, other elected officials and public servants, led by our own Judge Diane Dichu Agostini, Judge Hala Jarbor, and our own councilman, Mr. Jim Manna. Please give them all a round of applause. Obviously, we're honoring tonight the Supervisor of West Bloomfield, Mr. Steve Kaplan. Thank you, Steve. Steve promised to get all the approvals necessary for Shenandoah. Thank you again, sir. Okay, as you know, we have a phenomenal partnership with Ascension Providence Hospital. They've been a phenomenal partner with the Chamber and the Foundation. We're working on many community outreach programs with Ascension, including some work to bring primary care and other health and wellness programs to the Chaldean Community Foundation. We are honored they continue to support our organization. They're tonight's presenting sponsor. One of our board members, he's also the president in Providence Park Hospital. Please join me in welcoming our dear friend, Mr. Joe Hershey.
Can you hear it? It's the sound of hope and health and strength. It's the sound of compassion, of open doors, where people and machines are in tune and miracles occur. It's the sound of personalized healthcare and active communities. It sounds like life, and it's what you hear when you really listen.
Wow, good evening and welcome. How's everybody doing out there? Oh, we can do a little better than that. Work with me here. It's not easy to follow Martin and Mojo. On behalf of our faith-based organization, it's an honor and pleasure to be part of the fabric of the Chaldean community. We have so much in common. Look around this room. You're in the company of some pretty amazing people. People that go beyond to give of themselves, their time, their families. We continue to support one another. On behalf of our health ministry, it's a pleasure to be in your company. If I could just take a moment, we have some of our physicians and physician leaders that are here with us tonight. They're at table 37 and table 26. They do a wonderful job taking care of the Chaldean community, taking care of patients that are poor and vulnerable and have unlimited needs. Could you join me in just welcoming them and thanking them for their service to the community as well? It all starts with our physicians. As we've said, it's our pleasure to be here. We have over 17 hospitals within the state that bear the Ascension brand and the Ascension name. Our biggest concentration is in southeastern Michigan. Throughout the state, we employ over 26,000 members of our care teams and medical staff that do an amazing job taking care of the community. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming out this evening. Enjoy the program and in good health. Thank you.
Okay, quickly to the next part of the program. Shh. This is a very important announcement. Earlier today, just about 15 minutes ago, we had several members of the U.S. Congress here that hosted a press conference to help stop the deportation of Iraqi nationals. I've had the pleasure of working with several members of Congress, many of who are here today, but I specifically want to thank those that were at the press conference, including Congresswoman Stevens, Congresswoman Slotkin, Congressman John Molinar, and Congressman Andy Levin. There's not many things that are bipartisan in Washington these days, but through the great work of people like Congressman Levin, who continues the legacy of this great family, who have always come to the defense of many vulnerable communities, we're really thankful for that. I always say that it's almost as if Andy Levin's brother's being deported, the way he's been responding to this issue. And then we have Congressman John Molinar. He's been in several meetings with President Trump. He just was on Air Force 2 with Vice President Pence. And after every time that he's with them, he sends me pictures and he calls me. And he's like, Martin, I got a chance to bring up the issue of Chaldeans to the President and to the Vice President. I'm like, man, you must not have a lot of things to talk about. I mean, that was under my breath. I never really told him that. But I was really thankful that we have brothers like this that care so much about our community. So they're going to talk quickly about the press conference and how we're going to save these people. Show them some love. Give them a round of applause. Stand and honor them. They're great people.
Be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause
Thank you all so much.
I love this land.
We will be very brief. John and I are standing here as a symbol of what needs to happen in our government. Republicans and Democrats working together to get the business of the American people done. Amen. And there's one piece of business that we feel really strongly about. And that is that no Iraqi person should be deported from this country until and unless they have the opportunity for what we believe in most in this country: due process of law, a chance to make their case as an individual. So today we are announcing that on Tuesday we are introducing a bill called Deferred Removal for Iraqi Nationals, including minorities. And we are going to have a lot of co-sponsors on both sides of the aisle because of the work of John Molinar in getting, and we have a two-part strategy. We're going to introduce this bill and try to pass it, and we're going to work with the administration and seek their action to make sure we stop deporting Iraqis back to a country that most of them never lived in as an adult. They don't speak the language. They don't have family there. A lot of times their village isn't even there anymore, as you all know. And so we need to just have fairness and a chance for these people. And I can't emphasize enough, as a freshman in Congress, what it has meant to have a big brother from the other side of the aisle, I'm serious, who is driving this process in a completely bipartisan way. So please give it up for our Congressman from Midland, John Molinar.
Well, As Andy said, we'll be brief, but I just want to thank him for his leadership. Martin had mentioned earlier, he's carrying a family tradition. I remember a year or so ago when we honored your father for all his work, and Andy has stepped right in, and his team have really crafted this legislation, which is really beneficial, and we are in complete agreement. We have support within our Michigan delegation. We're going to continue to build on that support, and we're going to work with the administration to get this done. And as Martin said, we've had different conversations, and I'm encouraged. We aren't there yet. You know, the legislative process takes some time, and the process working with Congress and the executive branch takes some time, but I'm very optimistic, and I guess if I had one message, I would say is help is on the way.
Thank you. Give it up for these guys again, please. Moving on, because food is about to come out. I can smell it ready. They're waiting on the other side of those doors. Please welcome up to the stage the chairman of the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce and the Chaldean Community Foundation. Oh, I love this. What a walk-up song. Mr. Sly Sendia.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city.
Thank you, Mojo.
Off from my heart.
Welcome, everyone. It's been an honor to serve, especially during this amazing year. God has truly blessed our chamber and the Chaldean Community Foundation. Behind me are several items of importance and great accomplishments that we'd like to share with you today. It is because of your involvement and the tireless efforts of Martin and our incredible team that I'm proud to report that our chamber has never been stronger. Our membership, retention, and contributions to Michigan's economy are an all-time high. For the first time in our history, we have more than 1,000 active members representing more than 4,000 businesses. A very special thank you to our membership chair, Mr. Anthony Toma, who zealously helped us reach this great milestone. Thank you, Anthony. Our focus remains, as it always has been since our founding, to build business, build community, and build relationships. We continue our advocacy efforts and are thankful to our Michigan congressional delegation for helping put an end to the detentions and deportations of some members of our community. Thank you for being here with us tonight. With USAID and Vice President Mike Pence's office to help rebuild and repopulate Christian and other minority villages in Iraq. Working to make the American dream a reality for many, this past year, the CCF has served over 31,000 individuals, primarily immigrants settling in the Detroit metro region. With the mission to serve, the CCF offers comprehensive programs to improve the health and wellness of individuals by providing workforce development, advocacy, legal assistance, and health care to all of our clients. To serve these people quickly, minimize additional suffering, and help them recover their dignity and independence, we are excited to announce tonight that we broke ground on a beautiful 19,000 square foot facility that's going to be in addition to our existing facility in Sterling Heights. Thank you. And we're also in the process of developing 135 units of housing and 9,000 square feet of retail space in Sterling Heights. To help fund these wonderful initiatives, we've been blessed by the support of individuals within our community and certain corporations, many are with us today. Nearly $5.2 million has been raised, and we are counting on your support to help us reach our $8 million goal. I want to personally thank our Mission Campaign Committee and its chair, Mr. Kevin Denha, for their tireless work. God bless you. I hope that we all hope here today, I can speak on behalf of the board, that you will continue to stay involved with the many activities that are connecting our membership and our community. On May 13th, please join us at this fabulous facility here at Shenandoah for a conversation with Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. I also ask you to save the date for our second annual Chaldean Community Foundation Gala, which helps raise much-needed funds for our mission campaign. And that evening, we'll be honoring the Chaldean Catholic bishop from Mosul, Iraq, and the Sarafa family led by Ann Mansour. Finally, thank you. With your commitment and continued support, the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce and the Chaldean Community Foundation continue to be the major hub and organization for planning and economic development in the Chaldean community. We are very appreciative of your support. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We ask for your continued involvement and to get others involved as well. Thanks again for being with us here tonight. God bless you and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
The food has arrived, so if I could please, before you even touch anything, if I could ask Bishop to come on up to the stage. Martin says I have to pronounce it like this. Bishop Ibrahim. Is that right? Ibrahim. Which Bishop and I go a long way back. I confessed to the bishop that I was going to join the seminary before I became a radio DJ. Bishop, good to see you again. Thank you so much. Everybody, this is when you got to be quiet. Please stand, everyone.
Thank you. So I have to be very brief because already the plates are on the tables. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Chaldean Chamber of Commerce and Chaldean Foundation and the director, the chairman, especially Mr. Manna, and the board of directors. I would like to congratulate also the awardees, Zaid Elia, Businessman of the Year, John and Ann Mansour, Humanitarians of the Year, and the special deputy to the Supervisor, Stephen Kaplan. When I was coming, I was thinking why they select, what are the criteria to select those positions, especially Person of the Year. So I said, I am sure they have some list, some criteria, but I will add one criteria for the next time. The Person of the Year, that means he worked a lot, he made money a lot. So he has to share some of that money with the needy people, So we ask God, it is always good to be here. We are all happy to be here because of the happy faces they are here. All we are happy. So thank you, Martin, for this gathering. It's a beautiful gathering. We ask God to bless us, all of us, and to bless our food, and to keep us under His protection, always. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, amen.
So good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Bishop. Okay, put the food on the table, but do us a favor, okay? The people that are going to be coming up here right now, we're honoring them today, and they're going to come up and say a few words. And they prepared, obviously, these words, and they deserve every bit of your respect. So if I could just ask you, you got all the time in the world to talk a little bit later, but please do us a favor and keep it as quiet as possible, okay? I would like to, before we start with our honoring of our great awards, I'd like to introduce you to a couple of people that work with me on a daily basis that are actually very excited to be here. One of them is excited to be here because he's Chaldean and single, and his mom said he has to come here tonight to find a good woman to marry. It's time for him to settle down. And the other one is here because she has FOMO. She has a fear of missing out, and every time that we ever do this, she always feels like the Chaldean community leaves her out. Please welcome my partners on the radio, Shannon and your fellow Chaldean, Joey, from the Mojo in the Morning show.
You forgot
forgot something too. So I've had this shirt hanging in my closet for like a year, and I've been waiting for the perfect opportunity to bring it out, and I thought, Vegas or the Chaldean Chamber of Commerce dinner? And it's perfect. So I am very, very flattered to be here tonight. I was waiting for Stevie B to be played, and I was happy because it's already been played. So thank you so much for having us.
Clap for Shannon. Before I say what I really wanted to say, can we make some noise for Mojo? Seriously, this guy does so much for our community. He loves attention, so make some more noise, please. I know you're eating. But when I started with the show 7 years ago, when I first got into the radio industry, I'm always so used to meeting white people, and it's always like, hey, I'm Chaldean, and I'm Iraqi Christian, and you got to explain what we are, you know? But Mojo is such a big supporter of our people, and I appreciate that. Seriously, it means the world to me. And he said it wrong. When I left the house, my mom said, Habibi, find you a very nice woman tonight, and that was it. Yeah. So Mojo is the worst wingman ever, and nobody listen to what he says today, please.
This guy, by the way, I'm not kidding, Joey and Slim. Is Slim here tonight? Because I know Slim is actually here tonight. Where are you at, Slim?
Stand up!
Slim, stand up. And Al Zara. Al, stand up for a second. You know, our radio station obviously loves the Chaldean community. Al Zara, give it up for Al. Both of these guys have worked, and Joey have worked in our building. We have had sales reps and all these great people that work with Channel 955 and iHeartMedia, and we hire them because we hope that they will bring their sisters to the station. So we like Slim, I miss you on the show because I miss your sisters, to be honest with you. But I do miss you too. And Slim's got a great business that's going on right now. So if you guys are credit card processing, right, Slim? Right over there. If you guys aren't using somebody in the community, you guys got to go see Slim. Real quick, I want to throw this out. There's somebody's car that is right now blocking an area where the police are about to tow it. You actually parked with valet, but you left the key in your pocket or your purse. So if you will look at your ticket, and if you have 32692, will you go back to the valet and give him your key? Otherwise, the police want to tow your car because it's in a bad spot. Is that you? Oh, okay, all right. I was gonna say, sorry about that. By the way, where's my $5 for the parking? So 32692. All right, Shannon's gonna stay up here with me, and Shannon's gonna help me with this. Joey, I might have you actually do shout outs with our sisters here in just a little bit, okay? If anybody talks too loud, which one of our dear sisters will walk over to the table and smack them upside the head? Do we have one of you? Okay, all right. Now is the time where I ask you guys to please just kind of keep it down, especially because this next story is a heartbreaking story turned heartwarming story.
It is now time to honor our awardees. And we are going to start with our Humanitarians of the Year, John and Ann Mansour. They have inspired us all through their strength and through their efforts to turn tragedy into a mission to serve. Please direct your attention to the screens to learn more about their inspiring journey.
Alexander was just 11 and Gabrielle was 6 when the two passed away following a tragic boating accident in 2013. It was Father Andrew Seba's first funeral mass as a recently ordained priest.
God was really gracious with both John and Ann. Yeah, I remember the very night of the accident. There were hundreds of people at the hospital, but there really was a supernatural grace, certainly, that God gave them to even be alive, really. Well, Father Andrew said in his homily in the funeral, he said that I know that God will do something with this. As terrible and as horrible as this is, I feel like he prophesied in that moment because he was talking about how there were lives that were saved with the organs.
Alex and Gabby's sister Adriana survived, but spent months in the hospital with a traumatic brain injury. John and Ann Mansour found solace in their faith as several Chaldean seminarians from Sacred Heart Major Seminary offered support and prayers.
John and Ann, from the very beginning, felt this call to be able to help other people, and so they did. They started this grievance group, and ever since then, I know that so many lives have been touched, and they've been able to find God in their grief and in their suffering.
From day one, they opened their hearts and their minds, and were there to show us, God's graces and amazing gifts. And I think it was their way to kind of say, don't lose sight of God, stay focused on what's important here, and He'll provide you all the strength and graces to get you through this tragedy. And from that day forward, that bond continued to strengthen.
John and Ann knew they wanted to give back to the seminarians, and the Stride for Seminarians annual walk and fundraiser at the Detroit Zoo was born.
The first walk was a really crazy rainy day, and people still came out. And ever since then, because we were able to make the best out of the walk, and it really turned into such a beautiful day. There is just this feeling in the air, joy, happiness, love. Everybody's in a good mood, even though it's 7:30 in the morning. So it's just, I feel like it's a special day where God really just places His favor on that day.
Just seeing the whole community coming out and supporting our cause and remembering our kids, it's helped us in our grieving process.
And I feel no matter what we do, and the Strides being a very big part of our life now, but anything we do to give to others or give back, there's a big reward in terms of healing and getting that kind of sensation back to us that helps us continue to heal.
John and Ann found they had a calling to help others, so they launched a Grieving Through Hope and Faith support group held at ECRC. These efforts to help others have been beneficial to their own healing.
Thank God we had all these people in our life that came into our life that we didn't know, all these seminarians, the priests, the nuns, and we thank God every day for them being in our life, and it has helped us tremendously. There's people out there that don't have that support.
One guest speaker, Father John Ricardo, left the group with a message of hope. Since the tragedy, many families have leaned on John and Ann Mansour for strength in the midst of their own suffering.
One important takeaway was, we ought to not continue to question why, but how do we respond to the situation? How do we cope with the challenges? And how do we get through every day? And that's all, I think, determined and defined by how we respond to the situation at hand.
When someone looks at their own life and sees the struggles that they have, they look at the hope that John and Ann have and think to themselves, if they can put a smile on their face, if they can go out there and inspire people, then certainly I can too. And I think that is greater, that sign of hope is significantly more impactful than a walk at the zoo.
Don't ever give up, regardless of the tragedy, regardless of your challenges, regardless of your setbacks or downfalls. We're here to do God's work, and most importantly, don't lose sight of God. In the midst of our tragedies, in the midst of our busyness out there in today's world, He should be the forefront, always and forever.
You want to say? And it's easy to give up, and give up on life, and give up on everything. And we're not here to give up. God has kept us here and given us strength to keep going. And as hard as it is, as painful as life is, He has given us the strength to keep going. And this pain is never going to go away. It's never going to be healed. But you just learn to live with pain every day. You learn to live in this new life.
Thank you very much. We're proud of you. And thanks for all of you for joining us here on this very special celebration with all our family. We love you all. Thank you.
story of how he has turned pain into a purpose. Please welcome to the stage, John and Ann Mansour. We obviously have some awards for you this evening, but we also have something very special. The Michigan State House has issued a proclamation in your name that we are presenting to you this evening.
Well, good evening. On behalf of my wife, Ann, and I, and my entire family, I want to thank the Chaldean Chamber of Commerce for honoring Ann and I as Humanitarians of the Year. This award is truly a gift from God and should be shared with many other humanitarians who have provided our family and community with much love and hope from the onset of our tragedy. God provides to all of us in good times or bad. As instruments of God, we are called to glorify Him through our faith and also through our actions. God has provided our family many gifts. We are blessed with the gift of life, and Alexander, our first child, Adriana, our second child and survivor of the accident, and Gabrielle, our third child. Alexander and Gabrielle fulfilled their missions on earth, although it was a short run, and were called back to heaven back in July of 2013. God has provided our family with many guardian angels who have lifted our spirits, embraced us, and continue to shine their light on us. It is their love and God's love that have allowed us to persevere daily. We are truly blessed to have in our lives our family and friends, our caring community, including other families who have lost a loved one, the many doctors and nurses throughout the hospital systems here in Michigan, including Beaumont, our wonderful seminarians, our amazing priests within our Chaldean diocese, and our amazing Chaldean sisters. I want to personally thank Father Andrew Seba and Father Patrick Sutu, who were there from the onset and are here with us today. I also want to thank Father John Jiddu, Father Brian Kessa, Father Pierre Konja, Father Bashar Situ, Father Anthony Kathawa, Father Fadi Georgis, Bishop Francis, and all other clergy within our diocese who were present with us at the very onset of the tragedy and to this day. Some were past seminarians when we first met, and now are priests, and we're very blessed to have them in our lives. I also want to thank our wonderful nuns, Sister Agnes, Sister Angela, Sister Amanda, Sister Faustina, and all other sisters and nuns throughout our Chaldean diocese, and especially my Mary Miriam, who's now serving in Iraq. Also, I want to personally thank the committee that helps support our Strides event, our volunteers, our many wonderful sponsors, donors, and past attendees for all their time and support and love. I want to say that God is always present and has always provided and continues to provide His gifts. As people of faith, we were given the gift of free will. This means we have a choice. Walk with God or walk away from God. Our family is walking with God, which has provided us the strength to face each day and make a difference in this world. God's plan is to make this world as heavenly as possible. That is the calling for each and every one of us here. We ask for your continued prayers and also for prayers to those who have lost a loved one. We also ask for continued prayers for our priests, nuns, and seminarians. Continue to love one another and God unconditionally. It is the only way to finding joy on earth and to providing the pathway to faith and hope. Thank you.
We're going to have you come over to this side over here. We're going to give you this. This is pretty heavy. I don't know if you want to. All right. And we're going to have everybody from the Chaldean Chamber of Commerce and the dinner committee here take a picture with you. Everybody look okay? Thank you so much. And thank you for being so gracious and paying attention. That was great. That might be the first time, Martin, that we have ever had them all be quiet like that. That was unbelievable. And John, that was an amazing speech. Thank you so much. Now it is time for a special tribute to our West Bloomfield Supervisor, Steve Kaplan. Please direct your attention to the screens so that you can learn a little bit more about this man who cares a lot about the Chaldean community.
Well, as you know, I'm Jewish, and Jewish folks and Chaldean folks have much in common. In fact, there's a famous line that says, why did God create non-Jews and non-Chaldeans? And that's because somebody has to pay retail. But we have similarities, the love for family, talking with our hands, and owning businesses, and now the younger generations are professionals, dentists, lawyers, physicians. So I think there are many commonalities.
In 2016, he was elected the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor.
We have 66,000 residents. I don't know precisely how many Chaldeans live here, but I would estimate it to be at least 15,000. And we don't have a quota system here, but the Township Board felt that we should increase Chaldean representation on our boards and commissions as well as employment.
Those who know him, and not just the Chaldeans, will vouch that he's hands-on and engaged.
So West Bloomfield is one of the largest townships in the state of Michigan. It's also one of the most affluent townships in the state of Michigan. You'd be hard-pressed to find a supervisor that answers the phone. So if he's got nothing to do and this guy's busy 24/7, he's going to be answering the phone. So a lot of times you'll call into town hall and you have an issue or a problem. He might be the guy that's answering the phone, which is, I find absolutely astonishing.
Steve has been a great leader. He listens. He wants to help make West Bloomfield a better place to do business. He understands the workings of the government and understands business.
Bestech is the owner and developer of Aldingbrook Apartments in All Seasons in West Bloomfield. They're one of the owners and managers of the Boardwalk Shopping Center and the Sugar Tree Shopping Center on Orchard Lake Road. They're currently developing and are the owners of the Town Court Apartments on Orchard Lake.
Being a leader in West Bloomfield, he's made it a better place to do business.
West Bloomfield Township has the second largest Chaldean population in Michigan, next to Sterling Heights. Kaplan has been on a mission to make sure his constituents are properly represented in their local government. Aside from appointing community members to various board commissions, Kaplan has hired Chaldeans in the township. Some West Bloomfield employees are in fact trilingual, able to speak to residents in Arabic, Aramaic, and Maltese. Kaplan has held local elected office for more than 22 years, but there's more to Steve than most people know about.
Well, for example, he's a wordsmith. He's an expert when it comes to the English language. He's been a prosecutor for the last 29 years. He's professor of law at MSU. He loves baseball, great father, great husband, and just one of the kindest people you've ever met in your life. He's a best friend to many, many people, and leaves everybody happier than before they met him. That's what a great person he is.
The Chamber recognizes Steve Kaplan for his willingness to work with the Chaldean community, his inclusivity and his respect for other cultures, and the support he has shown in his capacity as supervisor.
Steve Kaplan.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for the honor. As you know, I'm an attorney, and Martin Manus said, don't use up your words, be brief. And I said, I don't know if that's possible, but in the audience we have Justice Viviano and Judge DiAgostini, and Martin said, if you talk too long, we're going to hold you in contempt of court. So in 2016, we had a new board, and I appreciate the honor, but this is really teamwork. We have a board of 7, and the 7 of us realized that we have a substantial Chaldean population in West Bloomfield, but they're not serving in leadership roles in West Bloomfield. And what are we going to do about it? So what we did is we talked to many community leaders in the Chaldean community, and they gave us names of individuals who might be looking for employment and who might want to serve on boards and commissions. And now, as we stand here, when we sit here, we have 21 representatives of the Chaldean community who are working full-time at Town Hall, or they're serving on our boards and commissions. They have been terrific additions. So 2 of my good friends are here today. I'd like to recognize them, Debbie Binder and Terry Weingarten from the Township Board. So say hello. And then, you know, Jim Manna was elected. So West Bloomfield Township was formed in 1833, and it took 183 years for a Chaldean to be elected to the Township Board. So congratulations, Jim. And I hope we don't wait another 183 years to have another Chaldean on the board. But we on the West Bloomfield Township Board, we're very proud of the fact that we now have great Chaldean representation. They're doing fabulous work, and I want to give you an example. This is something we didn't necessarily consider, but we hired a Chaldean female who works in the assessing department, Annabelle Karana, and we had an older Chaldean woman at the counter who didn't speak English, and so we were trying to help as much as we could, and Annabelle stepped up. She speaks 4 languages. She answered the questions. The lady left happy, and this is just an example of how diversity prevails in West Bloomfield. So again, I'm honored to be here. Really, it should be the Township Board, but the fact that we're able to be your elected officials, we promise to work as hard as we can, be as ethical as we can, and we wish you a great evening tonight. Thank you so much.
Finally, it is time to honor our business person of the year, Mr. Zaid Elia. From restaurants in Birmingham to buildings in Detroit, Zaid is instrumental in changing the hospitality and the real estate industry in Metro Detroit. So now, please direct your attention to the screens to learn a little bit more about Mr. Zaid Elia.
He is known as a Detroit mega developer who has been appearing in news stories almost as frequently as the Illich family and Dan Gilbert. People in the know began to take notice of Zaid Elia in 2016 when he and his business partner reopened a restaurant on Campus Martius, the fine dining of Park. But that is not when Zaid's entrepreneurial career really took off. The biology major from U of M, who became an attorney, somewhat stumbled into the restaurant business. While practicing real estate law, he planted an important foundation.
In early 2008, I had the opportunity to meet a Subway development agent who controlled the territory rights for Subway restaurants in Western Wayne County. And we were sitting in a meeting, and I asked him a question, would you ever sell? And he looked at me and he said, yes. And I said, really? And he said to me, this is my asking price. And he said, do you have the money? And I said, yes. And he goes, do you really have the money? And I said, no. And then he says, are you willing to learn the steps and the process it takes to become a Subway territory developer? And I'm like, absolutely. What does it take? And he says, well, you're going to have to be a Subway franchisee first. You're going to have to buy your own store. And I looked at him and I said, you want me to buy a store first before I'm approved to be a Subway territory developer? And he said, you're going to have to learn it from the bottom up, son. So this is the way it's going to be.
He bought his first store in Dearborn and showed consecutive quarters of growth.
And then he said to me, now we're ready for your second store. And I said, now I'm 2 stores into this deal. What happens if I don't get approved? He's like, well, you should have thought of that before you bought the first store.
Zaid asked the right questions, seized an opportunity, and ventured into the food business. Today, he owns about a dozen Subway stores and is the development agent for about 100 stores in Wayne County. Restaurants are just part of his portfolio. The Elia Group develops and purchases office buildings, mixed-use buildings, and various types of real estate. The hospitality side is called the Iconic Collection.
I was always interested in real estate, obviously because of my background, and my office was in Birmingham down the street, and I frequented the 220. One day I spoke with the owner, and I said, would you be interested in selling the building? And she looked at me, she's like, sure, but I'm not ready. So over the course of a year, I had lunch with her once a month, and then finally she said, I'm ready to sell, but there's one contingency. And I shook my head as usual, and I said, what's that? And she said, you're gonna have to buy the restaurant, own and operate it. And I said, what do I know about fine dining? She said, what did you know about Subway?
The fine dining and iconic venue side of Elia's business now includes 220 Merrill, the Park Restaurant in Detroit, Detroit's Anchor Bay, and several other classic Detroit dining and drinking locations. New restaurants are on the horizon. The businessman is very much a family man and one who serves as an example to others. Many have taken notice of his talent.
His ability to create the art of the deal. What do I mean by that? Is his ability to find the deal and make it happen, make it work, and more importantly, make it close.
The Elia Group employs 600 people. It started in 2006 with just one employee who is still with the company. And if you ask about the secret to his success?
So the first thing is always ask the question. 2, don't be limited by your own fears. Don't ask the question, why is no one else doing it? Simply do your homework, understand every facet of the business, and take a deep dive into it.
There's no substitute for hard work. There's no shortcuts. There's no easy path. There's no easy button. Roll up your sleeves and get to work.
Zaid Elia, the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce's 2019 Businessperson of the Year.
Please join me in welcoming tonight's Businessperson of the Year, Mr. Zaid Elia.
Can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, and I just love your flashy.
You don't get just one, you get 2 proclamations, a state and a county.
Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, and I just love your flashy ways. Guess that's why they broke me up so.
Good evening. Good evening, Martin. Thank you. I am truly humbled and honored to receive this award tonight. I am especially grateful considering the success of this community, which I am wholeheartedly proud to be a part of. Wow, Business Chaldean Person of the Year. Thank you, ChaldeanChamber. Thank you to our community. Thank you to everyone in attendance tonight. To think some 20 years ago, I was a pre-med student at U of M. On occasion, my wife Zaina and I sit down and we laugh. She always tells me, how did you go from being a doctor to a lawyer to a real estate developer to owning 220? I always have the same response. You tell me, you're the one who married me. In all seriousness, my journey only makes sense when I look at it through the lens of the entire picture. My journey is not something I plan pen to paper. It's made up of a series of events that have shaped me over the course of many, many years. I can definitely point to one story in particular that captures the essence of this path. It happened some 11 years ago. My grandmother, Gorgia Jonah, called my mom and asked her to come over. She said she had to talk. The impending sense of doom immediately struck my mom, rushed over, and she sat, and immediately my grandmother said, Barati, we have to talk. that means daughter, but it really means we have to talk. Before a word was out of my grandmother's mouth, my mom immediately said, "What's wrong?" Tears start coming down her eyes, and my grandma says, "Is something wrong with Zaid?" And my mom looked at her and said, "What? What do you know?" And she goes, "There has to be something wrong. He's a lawyer, is he okay?" And my mom said, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "Does he have a job?" And my mom says, "Yes." And then she goes to her, "Well, my friend saw him at a Subway in Dearborn working behind the counter making sandwiches." Wearing my traditional blazer, of course. So the tears of sorrow became the ultimate tears of joy. My mother laughed and laughed, and my grandmother Nana looked at her and still was puzzled. The reality was, she looked at her and said, "Nan, he's working on something. When it happens, I'll let you know." The reality is, when I was looking at purchasing the rights for the entire territory for Subway, I had no clue, no food service background, but I did have my legal background, I had my real estate background, but I took a deep dive and said, "I'm in. I'm going to do this." But to do it, I knew that I had to start from first base. I knew that I had to get behind the counter. I knew that I had to make sandwiches. But I knew more importantly that to lead the troops, I had to do the work. And over the course of a year, like you heard in the video, we had successful growth in the company. I opened another store. And then the reality, the fiction became reality. I was approved to buy the entire market. When you're young, when you're aggressive, when you can take chance, I always say it's like a swinging door. When you're young, you just run through the door. You push it, you don't care what's on the other side. No matter what, I'm going to get to the other side of the door. As you get older, we all know, we push, and then we wait to see what happens. But when you look at it, I say to myself, I started with one employee who's here today, Jamie Cherkasky. I rented an office in Birmingham that I couldn't afford. I had a copy machine that I had to lease because it was too expensive. But the stark reality is hard work and perseverance paid off. Today our company stands over 600 strong. We have strong teams across different sectors of the market, but our same principles still apply. Hard work, integrity, character. Do what you stand for, believe what you do, and at the end of the day, life will work. You see, life takes unexpected twists and turns. But I believe if you work hard, you take a little risk, you get a little lucky, fate tends to work in your favor. The basis of my story is no different than the story of the Chaldean community. Everyone in this room sitting here tonight has a story of family, a story of compassion, a story of courage, a story of hard work, and a story of putting it all on the line when you have to. That's who we are as a community, and I'm proud to be a son and a brother. Thank you to the Chaldean community. Paths are developed with many, many people shaping the way. I've been in a fortunate position to have great mentors like Ari Leibovitz, who always told me to ask the question. Great partners sitting over here who I trust, who have helped shape my vision. I hope that I've helped shape yours. Thank you. We stand together. But I can tell you with 100% certainty that if it wasn't for family and education, I would not be standing here today. My parents always provided a great home, a great family, a great life for my brother TJ and my sister Rena. Till this day, they work tirelessly. But most importantly, my family always stressed education. But not education, excelling at it and being number one, always. Countless summers, my parents would tell me, you're gonna go to camp and you're gonna learn next year's curriculum. And I would look at my mom and I would say, are you kidding again? And she would say, I would say, why? And she would say, because I tell you so. Mom, Dad, thanks for telling me so. Thank you for teaching me the foundations of integrity, character, and hard work. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. I also believe that success in business starts in your home. Zaina, my wife, my guiding light, she turned 40 this week. Everyone say happy birthday. You look more beautiful today than the day I met you 20 years ago. We do this together each and every day. You create a strong foundation for our family, and thank you for always being there. Alex, Ava, Anthony, I love you. Mojo, they're really here to see you. Where's Mojo? I like his Gucci belt. It's not gold though.
I love the salads at lunchtime at 2:20. I always order.
Just wait till they're comped.
Oh! Martin told me to pull you because you're not brief, but you know what? I'm going to let you keep talking.
Well, we can all tell Mr. Manna where he can stick it. So.
Thank you very much.
When you win Businessperson of the Year, you can tell me what to cut off. Just kidding.
I have another award for you.
In closing, I agree with Bishop Ibrahim. It's not about the money we make. It's not about the deals we close. It's about the things we do for our community. Tonight's recognition has inspired my wife and I to pay it forward. Zane and I have initiated tonight a scholarship fund for Chaldean kids in our community in need. Far too often we hear of bright, highly motivated children who simply cannot afford to go to school, who have to help their family, and often put off school, never achieving their dreams. We all know this story all too well. No more. Sometimes it takes one person in your family to change that cycle. And as Bishop Ibrahim says, let's write the next chapter of our story. It's our duty to build the foundation that was laid for us by the countless leaders in our community. And the next chapter will tell the participation and the glory of our future, and the leaders who will help build our leaders of tomorrow. Thank you.
Stay here for a minute. We have another special award for you, Zaid. After those comments, I was thinking about not giving it to you, I gotta be honest. I've never really had my feelings hurt, but it's all right. It happens often. Anyway, before I bring that up, I want to just say that, honey, my wife of almost 17 years, you look better than the day I met you. So, thank you, thank you. Now, one last thing. If you don't know this, Zaid and his wife Zaina. Zaina is actually on our Chaldean Community Foundation board, and they've been extremely generous to our campaign, which has been helping a lot of our new Americans, and have raised or donated more than $150,000 to us. So that is part of the criteria, and we're very thankful to them for that. But I want to bring up Paul Jonah because we have a special presentation for you. Paul Jonah, your cousin, said that the award we selected isn't good enough, so we got you this awesome belt. You are a champion, Zaid. Give it up for him.
Thank you, Paulie. Is it double XL?
Raise it.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Don't worry, you don't have to apologize. Okay, let's bring Mojo back up to close it out because we have some unbelievable treats for you just on the other side of those doors. Thank you, Mojo.
Thank you, Martin. Hey, Tamara, I'm going to honor somebody here right now. This guy works countless hours. Unbelievable. But his true better half, right over here. Will you stand up, please? No? All right, then sit down. And Martin, give her a big old kiss and thank her for all she does. Most beautiful family in the world. I have no idea how you got her. Unbelievable. Shannon, thank you. Come on up, Shannon. Real quick, I would like to just tell you, don't rush off because our friends from Keller Williams have put together the Keller Williams Cigar and Scotch Lounge. That's on the terrace. I want you to enjoy, obviously, all the cigars and scotch you want, plus coffee, popcorn, cotton candy, Papa Romano's Pizza, Donut Bar Donuts. Shannon, now I got your attention. Wild Bill's Tobacco Cigars, Country Fresh Ice Cream, Waffle Way, and Middle Eastern Treats. The bar is open till about 11. Special thanks goes to Sarah Kittle and Sanand Everett and the numerous volunteers who helped out tonight. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for all the support.